Welcome back to the Dreams to Deals podcast, where successful business owners turn their dreams into deals with your hosts, Vicky Holtgrew and Brianna Rodriguez. We are so excited to have our special guest today. Kim, if you do not mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Kimberly. I am owner of Artistry Beauty salon. I am a licensed cosmetologist, as well as a licensed laser tech, a mentor, a conference speaker, six-figure salon business owner. Gee, so many titles, but I specialize in business in the beauty industry, essentially. And I'm so excited to be here today with you ladies.
Thank you. We're so excited that you accepted the invitation, and we're glad to get into everything that we have for you today. So the first thing that we asked everyone when they get onto the show is, what was your first dream and how did that evolve to your deals that you have now? Considering the name of our show, we wanted to just ask you, what was little Kim thinking when she was young and how did that evolve to this?
Oh, I just got chills thinking about little Kim. Little Kim, and I've thought about this, like at its core, and I wish I could tell you something like grandiose, like, I just wanted to make my parents proud. That was really it. And I remember growing up, my mother, she would always tell me, she was like, Kimberly, you're going to go to school and you're going to go to college and you're going to have a really good job and you're going to like be able to take care of yourself. And so that was always my thing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get a good job and I'm going to be able to take care of myself. Well, the first two didn't happen, but thankfully I can still take care of myself. So I would say I accomplished that, but it was just wanting to make my parents proud. My parents are we're first gen immigrants. So my parents came here from Mexico and I saw the sacrifices they were making. And you don't really realize as a child kind of how you process
Not
it
at all,
until you're an adult and you realize you have these characteristics, you have these values, you have these morals. And for me, it was like, I need to make sure that what my parents did wasn't in vain. So whatever it may be, like I just need to make sure that I make it.
So true. Yeah, I can definitely relate with that because I know with us too, we are all, I guess we're all Hispanics, like in our background. I know, it's surprising. I look so white. Yeah. I sometimes forget. I'm like, wait, Vicky too. And no, there's sometimes where I really do sit and think about, all of the sacrifices that my generation has had and let it not be in vain. So I can definitely agree with that. And then continuing on, how did that turn into what is now?
Jeez, I remember like I didn't even know what I wanted to do when I grew up. At first, I remember I wanted to be an astronaut. And then I found out rocket ships can explode.
Oh, and then you're like, no.
I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then for a moment, I wanted to be a dermatologist.
Okay.
But you have to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to school for 10 years. That's a long time. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a nurse. My whole thing was I'm going to open a med spa. I really liked the idea of like Botox and injections and all that stuff, right? So I was actually attending college while I was in cosmetology school. And, COVID happened, all these things, some laws changed, and I just dropped out of college and I didn't go back. I didn't finish, didn't get into nursing school, didn't do any of that. But I had my cosmetology license, so I just kind of ran with it. I was doing lashes at first, so lash extensions. This was back in 2018 when they were like, there was like a lash extension renaissance. And everybody was, starting to get lashes again. So that's kind of how I had my come up. I like rode that wave. I started doing eyebrows because in my head, I'm trying to, how do I up my ticket prices? How can I make, work smarter, not harder? And it was, okay, like, let me bundle a service. What goes with eyelashes? Eyebrows, right? So I started doing eyebrows, wasn't very good at it. Kept trying, though, kept doing it. And eventually I was getting clients for eyebrows versus eyelashes. And I found that I made a lot more, moolah doing eyebrows versus doing lashes. And not a lot of girls specialize in doing eyebrows. You hear it time and time again. They come to your seat. They're like, oh, my brows are so uneven. Oh, they never get them right. Like, these girls are having the same problem over and over because people don't really pay attention to how important eyebrows are. So I started doing that. Eventually, girls wanted to, take trainings. I started offering trainings. Started the product line, started working very closely with schools, beauty schools in my areas, collaborating with them, doing demos, things like that. So the trainings kind of, get filled up, and that's kind of where I am now. I'm working still with the schools, product lines, things like that. But now it's kind of opened the doors to quite literally like bigger stages. Like I'm speaking at conferences now, simply because, they see that I have, I guess, the experience and the expertise in a very niched part of the industry that people aren't really paying attention to until they need it.
Yeah. Right. And I think even you're going to New York, right?
Yes, I am.
That is exciting. I saw that. I'm so excited for you.
I'm going to Manhattan.
And I remember I love that you said that too, that in the beginning you weren't the best at it. And I think even me as like an educator as well, like it's hard to tell people you're not going to be good when you first start.
Oh, girl, I tell everybody you're not going to be good when you start.
Right? Yeah. But it's hard for them to like receive that and like continue on because obviously you want the best for your students, but it's hard to like really differentiate, hey, like it's just not going to be what you think it is in the beginning. But now seeing where you're at now, it's like something to sell your clients or sell your students and tell them, hey, like there's something beyond like going past the diversity and all that stuff. So I really love that you said that because some people think that you just grab onto a skill and you're like the best at it in one day.
That it's like a gift.
Yeah.
No, the gift is resilience.
Yeah.
The gift is showing up.
Truly.
That's really where like that, highlights. Because I tell everybody, I tell my students, I look them in the eyes and I tell them, you're going to suck at this.
Yeah.
You're going to be bad at this. Like very few girls come in and they're like good at it in the beginning. And those are just, they're naturally inclined, right? We have that in everything. But the majority of everyone, I mean, I might be saying this wrong. I don't watch sports, but Kobe was not great at throwing 3-pointers when he first started, right?
Yeah.
And now, he's a legend. So it's like nobody starts just being the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. You basically take those mistakes, you analyze them, you grow from them, and then you try again. I always say everyone's scared of failure, right? That's a big thing when the girls come and they take a training and they're like, oh, I just want to be good at it. Like, I'm like, girl, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes.
I love how you're so real like
you
that,
have
though.
to be. Like, I love that. I would be doing them a disservice by trying to sell them an illusion, and then they're going to get, like, they're going to feel discouraged when the illusion isn't fulfilled, right? Exactly. So I tell them, I'm like, you're going to suck at this. But my definition of failure isn't making mistakes. My definition of failure is if I made a mistake and I get knocked down and I don't get back up.
Right.
So to this day, I have not failed because I keep getting back up. The day that I get down and I don't get back up, I'm dead. Okay? But no, so that's my thing. I tell them, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to suck. It's part of it. Keep it pushing. Text me. Call me. Show me your pictures. Let me give you feedback, And, mentorship's a really good part of that. Again, this mindset, part of it is, growing, seeing the sacrifice, and you kind of instill that in yourself. But another part, it's like having the proper guidance, because a lot of these girls, they venture into this industry being newbies,
right?
And they hear things like, oh, it's so saturated, or, oh, people are having difficulty getting clients. Both realities are a reality, but they don't have to be your reality. You kind of define how you keep it pushing,
Yeah, and I know with mentorship, that's a huge thing that you're passionate about. Whenever you were first starting, before you were mentoring others, who was your biggest mentor? It could be, spiritually, personally, like someone that you knew. Who would you say you looked up to and just followed by?
Oh my gosh, I actually owe a lot to, I'm not sure what to call her. My first lash trainer. So her name is Daisy. Shout out Daisy. She owns Lashed Babe Studio in Pasadena. Very successful salon. It's her with her 2 sisters. And I started doing lash extensions. I was doing just the classics, so the singulars. And, clients eventually, they want more. So I had to take like a volume class, so to do a more dramatic effect. I found her. I took a private 2-day class with her. So this is about 6 months into me doing lashes. I was doing mobile. So I would go to people's houses and unpack like a massage table and a chair and a lamp and be sitting in people's kitchens, bedrooms, hallways, like wherever I could fit that bed and do their lashes. So 6 months in, I go and I take this training and we spend the 2 days together. And, I tell her, oh, I'm mobile, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the 2 days, she tells me, I didn't realize it, but I was being interviewed. Like she told me, she was like, "Hey, I have extra space. Like, would you like to rent booth in the salon?" And I ended up doing it. It was great. She was amazing. The reason it was so fundamental to me is I never worked for anybody. Straight out of school, I did my own thing. So I was doing my own business, did my own pricing, did my own hours. I always did my own thing. However, it can be difficult to do that without some type of a guidance. So that's why a lot of girls, when they get out of school, they go work in a salon. They go, you know, whatever common franchise salons to kind of learn the basics, learn how a salon works.
Right.
You know how to talk to clients, how to handle mistakes, how to just everything, right? And she gave me that safe space to kind of still run my business, decide when to come in and out. But she just loved educating. And I could tell that she loved sharing her knowledge. And I think that makes a great educator, is that you just want to help people with the things that you know. And she was always very open with me. You know, if she would call me over, "Oh, Kim, come look at this. And like, this is what we do." Da, da. She didn't have to do that. Yeah. She could have just taken my weekly rent and just like, you're on your own, right? But she didn't. She shared her knowledge, and it cost her nothing, you know? And that's where I learned how to not run a whole salon, but essentially how to work with other people, as well as how to manage clients. Because the whole customer service thing, that is, I don't think anyone's born with that. You have to learn how to like corporate talk to clients.
100%.
And I learned that there. So I would say in the beginning, having someone that is in the same industry and who's willing to kind of not necessarily fully take you under their wing, but that you can reach out for help is really, really important. You know, a lot of girls, maybe they get a little catty. They don't want to share things. There are people who love educating. There are people who love sharing knowledge. There are people who don't really think that competition is a thing like that, to where they will share with you. So my advice, at least in that aspect, is find a mentor ASAP. It could be a counselor at school. It could be a parent. It could be a friend. It could be, you know, another business owner. Because like you said earlier, business is business, even across the industries. Like I was talking to someone who owns a dental business. Yeah. And we were talking like numbers and stuff. I was like, "Oh, but I do beauty." He was like, "Nah, business is business. Yeah. That doesn't change." So the mentorship, definitely, in being in that salon, I was there for a year before I moved on. But I'm very, very eternally grateful to Daisy for being that open and available to me, because I really did learn a lot from her.
And I know even with real estate, you also have to go through like a mentorship too.
I think mentors are so important, and I feel like they're so, I guess, undervalued, because I think once you reach a point where you're kind of like good at what you're doing, or you're really comfortable, let's say you're great at what you do, like it's so important to have a coach. Like the number one agent in Houston, like, has a coach, you know, like I'm a real estate agent. So I'm talking from my experience, like in the real estate industry, almost everybody at my office has a coach, has a mentor. And it really speaks volumes, because no matter how good or great you are at what you're doing at your job, like there's always room to grow, and there's always room to learn. And so mentors are huge. And yeah, like,
mentors hold your hand and help you walk through those issues that you would have had to figure out on your own. Yeah. So instead of kind of tripping and falling and having to get up and dust yourself off, they kind of hold your hand and help you walk through. Or they tell you, "Hey, you know, go in this direction. Don't do that direction." Or when I tried this, like, I already tried it for you. I already fell down for you. So let me tell you what you need to know so that you don't have to fall. Exactly. Now, if you want to fall, that's on you. Yeah. But at least, you know, you can give them that. They give you that advice, kind of that insight of experience.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like they help you, like getting out of your comfort zone, but also veering off into like different business opportunities as well. Something that either you thought of doing and that you've kind of like brushed under the rug, that they're trying to push you to do, or, you know, kind of just, they really want you to see, you know, like bring out the best in you.
Your potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, so actually Kim was the one to teach me brows. I remember I stayed, I don't know if you remember this, but I stayed after on one of her courses or the last day of our class actually. And I remember talking to Kim, and the thing about mentorship is that they can relate to you back when they started. And I just remember, I don't remember what I asked her. I just remember I was stressed and I was thinking like, how am I going to make this work? And I knew she'd have some insight because obviously she's been doing this for so long. We went through the course with her. And it was definitely a source I can cite whenever I was asking you questions. And you could just sense I was so stressed.
You were stressed.
And I remember like, she was just like, relax. Like, she was like, it's going to be okay. And she was like, she basically just gave me the opportunity to really think about where I'm at. And she said that, you know, God has you in your hands. And you basically spoke to your younger self, but through me. And it made me feel like, okay, someone has been here before and they're still able to succeed. Yeah. So I can relax, I can sit back. And it's even that with mentorship, because it's one thing to be very knowledgeable on like all the brows and being able to teach us like the geometry on everything. But it's another thing to really relate with your students and say, hey, like there is a personal development side to this. And that's okay to tap into as well. And it's something I had to do. And I did it, so you can do it too. And there was one thing that you said to me that I've always like thought of. And now I speak to my students and I tell them the same thing. And you told me you literally stepped back. You took a step back and you said, there's nothing special about me. Yeah. Like I created this, and which I don't believe that there's nothing special about you. But when you said it, it makes you think like it's just your habits that create the success. And like you said, it's just showing up for yourself time and time again. Whenever you said that to me, I was kind of like, so I don't need to have like this. I don't need to have like this huge kind of passion. I think that's a huge thing in like all the things that you see on social media. Like I have such a huge passion in me. And sometimes it's not that. It's just showing up so many times again. And that has always sat with me. I've always been wanting to bring that back up because it's a main reason on why I still continue to do what I do. And it's a main reason why I can teach people and show them that there's real to this stuff, you know, like it's not just social media and saying like, oh, like after a week I was able to like build this entire business. And I think that's so powerful. And I honestly thank you for that time when you just really sat back and you're like, hey, like let's take a deep breath.
You're young.
And you're like it's time to really trust the process. Yeah. So yeah,
you have to trust the process. And that happens a lot. Everyone's scared in the beginning. I was scared. Scared out of my mind. But it's like I said, it's how bad you want it. It's how bad you want it.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. That's like something I say. I'm not special. I was just a girl who wanted it really, really, really badly. And so I was just going to figure out what I had to do to make it happen. To this day right now, I don't say it. But I still don't know what I'm doing.
You know what? We should talk about that, because you were just talking about how sometimes it's not a passion to do something. It's just showing up. How do you really tell the difference, you know, of like, okay, I'm going to do this job because I need to and I want to, you know, be consistent and keep showing up, or I just really don't like this. Why am I continuing to do it?
Do you want to answer that or?
I feel like when people say the word passion, I think
it's a trigger word for me. That's a trigger word.
Because when I think of passion, it's a very intense emotion. Like you think almost like love, like amorous love, right? It's very turbulent. It's very intense. It can swing from one direction to the other. I think more so passion in love, sure, we can keep that in that compartment. But I would say passion from a day-to-day in terms of like, what you dedicate your life to, it's a little quieter. It's a little more stable. For me, I just knew that this was my passion because I woke up every day and I wasn't like, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't like, oh, I hate this. Like, did I sometimes didn't want to get out of bed? Yes, we all have those days.
Yeah.
You know, did I sometimes wish maybe I got off earlier? Yes, that always happens. That's gonna happen no matter what job, because at the end of the day, work is work, right? But I would say as long as it's something that you enjoy, that you don't dread like looking at your schedule and you're like, oh my God, I have to do this today, then it's something that you genuinely are passionate about. If you find yourself, knew I was passionate, because people would also tell me, like, people would get me started about my job, and they'd be like, your eyes are glittering. Like, I'd start talking and my eyes are like excited, you know? So find what makes you excited. It's not every day, it's not going to make you excited, because again, work is work. But find what kind of, when you start talking about it, you feel like you don't have enough breath for your words, and you can just talk about it forever and ever. Like, you know, I am sure we can sit here and talk about hair. I got to talk to you about my hair after this. Like, I can sit here and talk about brows, you know, and I'm sure you can sit there and talk about real estate, and we get excited, and you can tell it's what we like. Like, I wish every woman in this world and man can find what makes their eyes sparkle, and that's where you found something that you can hold on to for a very, very long time. And if you can make money out of it, even better.
Exactly. And that's my thing too. I think with passion, I know it's a trigger word, I know I use it sometimes too, but it's because finding your passion means actually like going through some habits and going through some challenges, or opening up that business and seeing how it goes, because you will not understand if it's your passion unless you are working, like the wheels are turning and you're doing the thing.
You're in the trenches.
Exactly. Like, if you were to ask me if lashes were my passion or if helping people were my passion, before I took my lash course, I probably would have looked at you and been like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and I don't know what passion even is, so what are you talking about? And that's how I try to educate my students and tell them, or people that are thinking about just taking the chance on themselves, because you're never going to know until you're actually doing the thing. And I've realized it now because, like you said, like whenever I talk about work, whenever I start planning my days or start going more into or building my business, I get more excited, and it's an understanding with that you have deep within, and it's like, okay, this has to be like some type of passion within me. But I think when you first start off, you don't know, and that's okay to not know if something's gonna work out or not. So,
you know, I like that, and I'm glad you bring that up, because sometimes like what you said, everybody has those days, right, where you're not gonna want to get out of bed, or you want to sleep in, and you really don't want to get up and drive and go somewhere, whatever. But the more, you know, Sundays come around and you get your little Sunday reset, and I plan out my week, I get excited. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, this day I'm going to go film content. I have showings this day, you know, podcast this day, whatever it is. It makes you excited. And even, you know, whatever emotions you're feeling that morning when you wake up, whether they're good or they're bad, you know, you push through them. That's going to happen. Like, you're going to feel emotions no matter what. But if you really just sit down and think, you're like, this is, you know, I'm doing this because like I plan to do this, and I don't know what I'm saying. I'm like just lost for words, honestly.
You plan and you like it. It makes you feel good. And that passion, I feel like at the end of the day, leads to your purpose.
Yeah, I really do think like passion can be sometimes a triggering word, and sometimes just there's nothing more to it than to just do it. Like I strongly think that sometimes, most of the time. But let's go into our next topic. I wanted to ask you, how do you like to invest in yourself? I know you have a lot of experience and you have built a huge business on mentoring others. Do you still seek mentorship, or do you still seek education now at this point in your business, point in your life?
I don't think I'll ever not be seeking education and mentorship. Education, ever since I was a little girl, I loved school. I loved learning. I loved knowing why. Like, you know those Wikipedia books with the picture books? Like, I would, like, pour over those. I'm going to go look for them right now at the library. I bet they have some.
There's a bunch of stuff over here, actually, that it's really cool.
So it's like, I just always loved learning. I loved knowing why. I Google anything and everything. So I hope, and I don't think I ever will, but I pray that I never lose that, because that is what's really led me here, is just the desire to know.
Curiosity.
And, the curiosity. So I will never not see, like, I'm a trainer. I do a lot of like the lamination, the tinting. I just took a training last month. I flew to LA to take a training with someone that I admire, someone that I like her business and I like how she runs it and I like her work. So I'm still seeking that out. And I've been doing this 6 years now.
Yeah.
And as for mentors, I mean, I try to, you can pay for mentorships, especially in the beauty industry. They get expensive though.
Yeah.
They can get expensive. So I try to more so keep like networking relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of women in my network that own salons, that own, like I mentioned, Daisy. Also, there's Paula from Amora Med Spa. There's just so many wonderful, powerful, strong women with their businesses. You don't have to necessarily pay someone, 10 grand for 6 months of coaching, because you can just, and I've done it. I've done those mentorships. And honestly, if you have the money for it, like, go for it. Just make sure you research. Because I did go through one mentorship that wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Still got what I needed out of it, but it could have been better. And I did do another paid mentorship, and it was about 15 grand for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I did learn a lot. But really, in the beginning, as long as, like I said, your teachers, just other people that are in your niche, go out. I feel like now people are scared to go outside and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's like the whole social media thing or always being on the phones, but like, go out and say hi. People think it's weird. Like, you can just walk up to someone and say hi. Yeah, you can. That's kind of the point of networking events. Like, go to networking events, go to these salons when they have grand openings, and like little, go to them, meet the owners, talk to them. They're going to remember you because you showed up. You're going to be the person who showed up. That's another thing of showing up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the things that maybe make you really nervous, maybe make you really scared, maybe you don't feel comfortable. Go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Be uncomfortable AF, because that's the only way you're going to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're just going to be like comfortable on your couch and like, and then you're going to lose yourself and you're not going to go anywhere.
That's true. That was one of the parts in your mentorship, at least whenever I remember going through the course with you. You talked about how you didn't just stay behind your phone and let your business grow from social media. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge thing with marketing, is that some girls, they start off in the beauty industry and they think that Instagram is just going to skyrocket their business, or that paying for Instagram ads is just going to skyrocket their business. It's helped me here and there, but it's a lot of, like you said, going out there, networking. I think you even told me, like, you would stick the flyers on the bathroom stalls. And that's so real. Like, we all start somewhere, and it really does truly help. If it's not helping as in like building your business, it's helping just you getting your
build confidence.
Yeah, building your confidence, going out there and just doing something for yourself and for your future. So I'm definitely with that. I know that you've spoken about that many times, and it's true. Some people really think you just go into it and you just post some social media flicks here and there, and that it's just going to happen.
Social media is a great tool.
It is.
It's a great tool, but you got to get out there. If you really want to be known and known well, it's those intrapersonal relationships that are really going to hold you up. Like me going to Manhattan, that was off of a connection.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't someone reached out on social media and found me and, oh my God. No, that was me showing up to events. I connected with the right people. They then saw my social media. They saw what I did, and then the opportunity was presented.
Exactly.
You have to go and connect. You have to smile. You have to, make conversation, see what, just like you have your own hopes and dreams and passions, what are their hopes and dreams and passions? Mm-hmm. Connect over that. And that has opened so many more doors than any Instagram ad has ever done me,
Yeah.
So it's a great tool, but it's definitely not the whole toolbox.
Right. You have to put your, what's that saying? Eggs in different
you
baskets?
Can't put your eggs all in one basket. Yeah, that one. That's true. There has to be a balance to everything.
Yeah.
And I think even with social media, scrolling on it, you can really sense some anxiety when people are saying, oh, you need to do more of this, you need to do more of this, you need more to do more of this, or like, you can't do this that much. And that's what really led me to like finding God as my CEO in my business, because you guys are kind of confusing me on social media. Like, there's just so much that, what else do I need to do? And so with balance, how do you balance your personal life, business, maybe even relationships with your family still and all that? How does that balance out in Kim's life?
Girl, don't ask me nothing about my dating relationships. Dating's a mess right now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm the eldest of 4.
Mm-hmm.
My parents
I'm the
are
youngest of 4.
Oh, cute. That's so cute. Yeah, I love my baby brother. But I'm the eldest of 4, so I have my family, and family's really important. We, carve out time for that. You have to I have to set appointments for myself the way that I would set an appointment for a client.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So You know, I wish, but my family can't call me and be like, Kimberly, let's go to the carnival tomorrow. I'm like, I already have stuff for tomorrow. You should have told me at least like 3-4 days ago, you know, at least. And that's still pushing it. Most everyone else has to tell me like 7 to 10 days in advance if they want something to happen. But you just kind of have to forcibly carve out that time, because if you don't set those boundaries, you're going to overwork yourself. And that happened to me. I remember, oh my gosh, I was like not getting booked. I was like crying in my suite. And then suddenly I had a TikTok go viral. I got like 3 million views.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got like 10,000 TikTok followers all out of it. And then suddenly my books that were like 70% empty slammed.
Wow.
100% for the next like 6 weeks. I remember I was at home sitting in my living room and my phone just kept going off because people were paying deposits. And I was like, what is going on? And yeah, people like booked everything. And back then I had my books open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Oh, shoot. Oh.
I was doing 3 ombre powder brows a day.
Wow.
It was ridiculous. And then I felt bad. I was like, I can't even fit my lash clients in anymore. So I would be like, come at 8 a.m. So I was working at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is great. Like, I'm booked out. I'm making money. This is amazing. No, girl. I had a panic attack and had to go to the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yep, that's real.
Wow.
I was like, why do I feel like I'm getting stabbed in the chest right now? Like, I couldn't take a full breath. It felt like I couldn't breathe. I had to cancel the whole day, lost money because people want their deposits back, of course. And they were like, how old are you? At the time I was 22. I was like, I'm 22. She's like, you're not having a heart attack. She was like, we're just stressed. I was like, okay. And it's so hard, especially when you make your hobby your source of income. You know, people ask me, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I don't even know what to answer anymore, because what I do for fun, like, is my job, you know? So I remember even going home and I was like, oh, they were like, they sent me home. They were like, go home, like muscle relaxers and rest. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch that online course that I bought. I was like, no, Kimberly, wait, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So I like sat and watched Jersey Shore instead. That's like my guilty pleasure, trash reality TV.
Oh my God.
Because it's so like mindless. And I have
mine is Keeping Up with Kardashians. I'm just like, okay.
Because I feel like we have to like focus our head on so many things all the time. I have to be so serious. Like, I just want to watch trash.
Yeah.
I just want to watch trash. But no, so now, you know, I'm blessed to be in a position where I'm, you know, comfortable, things are getting taken care of, so I have a bit more freedom to carve out that time. But at this point, it's not negotiable. Like, I will not overly stress myself out over things anymore the way I kind of used to when I was in that active building phase. I'm still in an active building phase, but it's not so heavy on booking clients, you know, and that's the thing that everybody has to go through. You have to build your clientele in the beginning before you even have a pedestal to reach into anything else. So just, you know, do the late, not the late fees, do the, what are they called when it's outside hours?
The after hours.
After hours, you know, do your after hours fees. And even sometimes I've had girls, they're like, I'll pay double, I'll pay triple. I'm like, no, I am not staying here till that time. Like, I want to go home. I want to calmly eat my dinner. I want to take a bath, and I want to cuddle with my dogs. Because if I don't, I cannot show up as my best self the next day. And not only am I going to suffer, my family's going to suffer, and then my clients are going to suffer. So it's in everyone's best interest for you to set boundaries and make that time for yourself. You have to. No matter how busy you are, you have to rest. And I feel like that's such a thing, you know, hustle culture. We got to be grinding and grinding and grinding. Where, like, I would feel guilty if I wasn't doing something. And that's bad. You know what? Yeah, it's bad.
It is.
We need to rest. You need to rest. You cannot be optimal if you are not well rested. So as much as you want the extra money, as much as you know, want the extra clients, just know that at the end of the day, if your brain doesn't set those boundaries, guess what? Your body is going to set those boundaries, and it's going to set them quick. So you're better off just blocking off.
I think it's funny because we always make time for other people and then put ourselves last. And I think that's the first thing that you learn and the hardest thing that you learn. Just because, I mean, nobody knows going into a business, like that's going to be one of their struggles. I feel like no one really prepares you for that. So I'm really glad that you found those boundaries and you've set those for yourself because they are so important. Like, and that's another thing is like where the passion words come through. It's like, passion. It's like, like what you said, how you rather just go and do the course that you bought, but you're like, no, I need to watch a show or just relax. Like that just shows like how badly you want it, you know? And that is great to have, but then you really have to like talk to yourself and be like, okay, I need to calm down. I need this for myself. I need to rest. And it's just like coming back to yourself at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you specifically, what are your like pouring back into yourself moments? I know for for myself, it's like working out, prayer. Most of the time it's like spending time with family. What does it look like in your personal life whenever you're pouring into yourself?
You know, I'm in this like transitional part of my life. I just moved out of my parents' house.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's interesting. And I just left a long-term relationship. So it's like the first time in my adult life that I've been actually alone.
Yeah.
Like, and it's interesting and, you know, it's cliche, you know, date yourself. But I'm finding out, like, who is Kimberly? What is she like? Kimberly likes taking baths. Kimberly likes sipping wine and taking baths.
There you go.
Kimberly also likes sitting in the backyard with my dogs. I bought another dog because, you know, I moved out. She's so cute. I love her. And I have a big backyard, so I genuinely do enjoy sitting and watching them run around. Like, it makes me so happy that they have space for their little legs to run as fast as they can. Like, it just brings me a lot of joy. Also, like, obviously I'm in the beauty industry, so I like my beauty treatments, you know, getting my nails done. And, like, I go get my nails done. I do the whole thing. Phone's on silent. I got the massage chair going. You know, we got a little champagne. You know, I don't let anybody disrupt me when I'm doing that. You know, I do make sure I have my lashes, my hair. You know, I don't have my extensions in, but just taking care of myself in that aspect is something I really enjoy. And then another thing that I recently discovered, and y'all would never catch me doing this in public. I like to dance and I like to sing.
Ooh,
I like to dance and I like to sing. But, like, that was a thing I wasn't. So as a child, I was really quiet. I was a very, like, quiet, keep myself occupied. I was the child that when adults, I was everybody's, like, teacher's favorite. You know why? Because I was so mature for my age. Y'all, that's a sign of trauma.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
A child
everybody says that to me.
A child is supposed to be loud, be a little bit, you know, not easy to handle. But no, I was very quiet, very easy to handle. And as of, you know, now that I'm older and I have, you know, I'm in this house and I'm still trying to be quiet. And I'm like, I scream and I'm like, Wyatt! Like, I'll just start screaming just because I can. And nobody says anything. I'm just like, you know? So I'm just learning to kind of exist in this realm of, like, who I am and what I like and what I want and just being very true to myself. Like, if someone, you know, hey, let's go do this and I don't want to do it. Oh, well, I don't want to disappoint. No, sorry, I don't want to do it. You know? Oh, I want to go out to eat and nobody will go with me. Guess what? I'm still going out to eat.
I'm going by myself.
I'm going by myself.
I love that you bring that up.
I do that all the time.
You know, I've done that before where literally I will call up my sister. No, like, she's not free. My friends, like both my sisters, anybody, and nobody can do it. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to go by myself. And I'm so comfortable, like, going to restaurants by myself, to stores by myself. And I think people really, like, they're so scared of it, but it's so amazing. Once you, like, build up the courage, it's so amazing. And what you were saying earlier about you just, like, dancing and like, screaming and, like, singing, that's honestly so, like, that's probably so good for you because sometimes I think about it and, like, I always talk in my head, like, so much. Like, I'll just be thinking in my head. And, like,
talk out loud.
Sometimes I'm like, I should be, like, saying something, like, as if I'm talking to somebody. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. But.
Yeah, my sister, she would come to my house and, like, I'm sitting in silence.
Yeah.
She's like, you're weird. I'm like, why? Because you're just sitting here and it's quiet. Like, put something on the TV. But I'm so used to kind of that solitude and that quietness. I mean, we were doing eyelashes for how long? You know, that's a very quiet thing.
Oh my gosh. It's something that like you cannot describe, like the silence
it's
doing
just
lashes.
Quiet, and then their breath gets like very deep, like they're all asleep. So I make it a point now to be loud. Obviously not in public spaces, but just like I make it a point, like in my home or in my car, or just to be loud, to not be afraid to take up space. I think that's where I'm healing and taking care of myself, because as a child, I did a lot to not take up space, to not bother people, you know. So now that I'm older and I've realized, like, you know, little Kimberly, she needed somebody. So now I'm the person that little Kimberly needed. And that's where I like regenerate, I guess. I feel good. Like I feel true to who I am, and I feel ready to show up as who I authentically am, because I'm serving those parts of myself that for a long time maybe went overlooked.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. I love that. I love this whole thing, because even with the whole personal development side of things, you really think back to your childhood self, because that's really who's in control. Even though you don't want to pay them respect sometimes, that's really who's controlling your actions, your habits, your life. Yeah. And sometimes you have to tell them, like, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, we do need to get this done, but like, we will get to you later, like in a second. And I'm glad that you bring up that side of things, of letting yourself take up space. Because that's the whole part of like being balanced out. You're never going to have it perfectly, ever really. But it's just a good thing to always look back and be like, okay, like how am I doing? And then it's usually going to show the health of your business in the long term. So I love that.
So you've been recognized in several ways, and I just want you to tell us more about your accomplishments and things that you've achieved throughout your business journey, and just so that way you can share them with us all.
I get shy when I talk about my accomplishments. Let's see. I'm gonna go in order. I would say my first accomplishment was getting these girls to trust me to take a training with me. I think that's a really huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
I love that girls come and they trust me with their money and with their education. I think that was huge. Yeah. I thought that was huge. I was like, what?
Right.
People want to learn from me?
It gives you like that like validation, or like I'm doing my job.
I'm doing it well, like, you know? And then even better when they come back. So I offer multiple classes, and I'll have girls that come for 2 to 3 classes. And that's when I feel really good, because I'm like, they wouldn't come back if I wasn't good at what I did. So I would say that's a huge accomplishment for me. But let's see. 3 years into my business, we hit 6 figures. And we've been making 6 figures every year since. That hasn't stopped. So
awesome.
You know, yeah, that was cool. I did get formally recognized for it in a PMU World, which is a conference for permanent makeup artists out in Miami, Florida. Yeah, they called me on stage and gave me like this Grammy looking.
That was so cool.
I was shaking. They were like, yeah, you have to give like a 45-second speech. And I was like, ah. Like I literally could feel that I was like, my hands were shaking, because it was like a whole crowd of people, and like they have all these lights on you. Yeah. But super cool, super awesome. So that was really nice. That was like, that felt good. You know, I was like, wow, like I have a 6-figure business.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. That is so amazing.
So that was, thank you. That was my first one. And then the following year, I took it upon myself to try to get into the Houston Chronicle. So, you know, they do the best of the best every year. It was like their 3rd year doing it. And I was like, you know what? Like, let's see how this goes. Huge marketing effort. Jeez, enormous. Got into top 5, got into top 3, didn't make the first place, but I'm not too hard on myself, because I was the only solo entrepreneur up there. Wow. The other 2 salons were full-blown, like,
they had like
employees, multiple. I couldn't compete with the influx of clients that they had, but I still made it to top 3 as just me, myself, and I. So I still took that as a big accomplishment.
Of course.
So I'd say that would be my second one. My third accomplishment, I would say, was when I got a school to formally contract me to teach a class on campus. So San Jacinto College, the community college, they have, their cosmetology program. That's where I got my cosmetology license. After a while of me visiting, they actually offered, they were like, hey, do you want to hold one of your classes here? So I did a class of 10 students and 3 teachers over the course of 3 days. And that was really, really awesome because I realized that it gave me like that validation that I was like serious enough of an authority figure to work with these schools, these state licensed schools. Like these girls pay tuition, they're getting licensed, and the program trusted me to come in and teach that. And not only that, that was a good check.
Yeah.
That was a great check. And I was like, wow, so that was amazing. After that, I kind of finessed my way into my first expo. I did an expo back in November, and it was a little interesting how that happened because they called me to invite me as a VIP, like someone who just shows up, an attendee. So just, just, hey, here's a ticket. It's free. You're VIP. VIP really was just, I wasn't going to pay the $80 to go in. But I kind of flipped it. She's calling me to offer me like a VIP ticket, and I kind of flipped it to, hey, so I see you're offering education. Do y'all have any interest in like having a brow girl teach like an education class? Turns out, yeah, they did. So that was great because I ended up in a room. The room was full. Like, the first day was a little slow.
Yeah,
but the
so I was
second
there.
day,
that was insane.
Bree came and helped me out, and the room was full. Like there were people lined up in the back and going out the doors. And so that was surreal to me. I was like, oh my God, like people are interested in what I have to say, We
were even telling people like, you guys can sit on the floor. Like there's people sitting in the back. We're like, guys, come in. Like
I felt so bad. I was like, give me a bigger room. But that then led to now I'm speaking at, it's the International Aesthetics Spa Conference kind of deal. They have like an acronym for it, IECSC. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that. But I'm going to Manhattan, and this is an event. There's going to be over 30,000 people there. But they essentially like hired me to give a class. Like the girls have to pay to take my class at this event. It sold out.
Wow.
Yeah, it sold out in like a month.
Crazy.
And so they've actually now invited me to go speak in Las Vegas as well. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So I've just, it's slowly been building everything. I started this, in my little suite when I was crying that, I couldn't get clients. I remember thinking, I was like, I'm going to be an industry leader. I'm going to be someone that when people think of whatever it is. At that point, it was eyelashes. But now it's like if someone thinks of, oh, I want to get my brows done, or, oh, I want to learn brows, I'm going to be the first person that pops up in their head. I'm going to be the person that they look to, and they're like, I trust what she has to say. That was like my thing. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew that that's what I wanted because I wanted the longevity. I didn't want to just like have a lot of clients and make a quick buck, and that was it. I wanted to be known for what I did. And my second thing was, I want to speak at a conference. I was like, I want to be on stage. Like, you attend these conferences and you're like, wow, like, look, these girls on stage. Like, they have businesses. Everybody knows them. People stop and listen, and I'm going to go speak at a conference. So it's like, it's surreal because even back in my suite when I barely had clients, I'm ordering like samples off AliExpress and Alibaba, knowing dang well that I don't have money to buy them, that I don't have demand. But I was like, I heard that little voice in my head, hey, go get the samples because one day you're going to need to buy in bulk. And I want you to have everything lined up and ready so you know what you're ordering.
Right.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like I have my product line, everything came into fruition. English is not my first language, y'all.
We get it.
But everything came to be, right? So I would say, in terms of accomplishments, everything that I ever kind of dreamed about, as long as I kept showing up and kind of figuring out how I was going to make it happen, it ended up happening. Yeah. So now my next dream is I'm going to have a product line that's sold nationally. It's going to be nationally in all the schools. So give me like 2-3 years, and we're going to be sitting here talking about how I'm all in all the schools.
Yeah. And I love that you say that because it's just a testament to like walking by faith and not by sight. Because if you really think about it, like somebody's in their suite right now. They don't have any clients, and they're just continuing at it because they have some faith that is undescribable. And it's so true when you say things like that, because there's even things that I obviously want to be doing in the future, and essentially that's why I pick up on things now. And it's just so powerful whenever you walk in faith and not by sight, because your circumstance does not destine like your future.
Right.
And that is just so powerful whenever I hear you say it, because of how far you've came. So, yeah. So as we close up this episode, I wanted to ask you if there's anything you want to give to the viewers listening, to the viewers watching, anything that you think the world needs more of, or just your students in general.
Do it scared. Do it terrified. Mm-hmm. Do it shaking, but do it. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I'm like working on projects, and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to jump. I don't know what to jump. I'm like looking to my dad. My dad is also a business owner. And so I go to him sometimes for more so like moral advice, mm-hmm. I guess so. You know, he doesn't know the ins and outs of, right. But he can give generalized advice. And I was like, oh, like, I don't know if I should, you know, sign the contract, if I should do this. Da, da, da. He's like, are you scared? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually terrified. Like, what mm-hmm. if it doesn't work out well? What if, you know, now I'm stuck with these consequences? Like, you know, what if? And he said, if you're scared, do it. And I was like, what? It was like, if you're scared, do it, because it means you care. Mm-hmm. It means you care, and it's going to push you to figure it out. So I'm a very much like jump first, figure it out later type of person. And, it, you know, that can be bad sometimes. Yeah. That can be bad, but it's worked out in my favor. So when you guys see me like talking in front of these groups or in these rooms, like I'm terrified. I do. It's scary talking in front of a lot of people. Oh, yeah. You know, it's scary to chase your dreams. You know, again, what if you fall? You know, what if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if people think, who does she think she is? I've had all of those thoughts, and I will still show up. I will still sign the contract. I will still walk on stage, even if you're scared. So do it scared. That's my piece of advice.
Wow. I love that.
Powerful, literally.
So where can people find you on socials, like Instagram, whatever it is? Like, what's your handle?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram a lot. So we are artistrybeauty.salon. I'm also on TikTok, same thing, artistrybeauty.salon. Artistrybeautysalon.com is our website. But my DMs are always open. If anybody ever needs any help, any advice, whether it be beauty related or business related, they can always pop in, and I'll do my best to help how I can.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We also want to thank everyone that continues to support the podcast, continues to support us on social media. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.